Yo guys, what's up? My name is Dijaju Prime, the ITK, here again with another video. Now today we are talking about Sampha's debut album, Process. Now Sampha is a British singer-songwriter, pianist and producer. He's worked with several big artists from Drake to Solange and with Kanye West. And you know, he's had a couple of EPs in the past, the most recent being Duo. Now going into this album, I was quite excited for this album and I was not disappointed. This album is elegant, it is majestic, but it's also very simple. It has this kind of, you know, delicate feel to it. In case you're wondering about the genre, I'd say this leans more towards electro, alternative R&B, maybe even electro soul. The album opens with the track 100 degrees Celsius. I think this is a very simple and yet majestic track. It has some lovely harps on it. And basically on this track, you know, Sampha is talking about being so high and being, you know, melting in the presence of the sun, or maybe just melting because he's so high. I'm not sure exactly what he means by that, whether we're to take that literally, but it is a very beautiful and well constructed song. The next track, Blood on Me, I think this is a standout track on this project. It's very eerie, has some very vivid imagery, and I think this is a very detailed and maybe slightly nuanced track. Basically on this track, Sampha talks about they smelling blood on him and coming after him. They tell him there's something screaming in him, something burning in him. Now, I might be wrong, but my interpretation of this track is perhaps Sampha is talking about the music industry, or maybe, you know, music labels coming for him, or maybe even artists coming for him and his struggle to stay away from them, maybe to stay away from being tied down or whatever. And when it comes to something burning in him, perhaps that might be his talent or his passion. So I think this is a very detailed, very eerie, great production throughout the course of this album. And of course on this track, I think Sampha does a great job at just, you know, delivering this kind of emotion through his vocalization. Also on this track, Sampha talks about, you know, someone who keeps, or some being that keeps rescuing him whenever he's in trouble. Perhaps this being or person is the music itself or his piano that keeps rescuing him whenever he's down. But I think this is a very interesting track. Lovely percussion, lovely production just in general, and a great listening experience. The next track, Chorus Sings, I think this is another great track, you know, more lovely harps, great sound blends and wonderful production. Great singing. I think Sampha is a very talented singer, and he really expresses that throughout the course of this album. The next track, No One Knows Me Like the Piano, this is a very heartfelt track dedicated to his piano. I think this track, you know, is very reflective. Sampha talks about how he started playing the piano and how the piano would help him get through those difficult times. I think this album is just littered with so many gems throughout it, and it's not an album that's just, you know, put out there so that you can hear Sampha sing. It's an album that also tells you a story and gives you an insight into the person. The next couple of tracks, Reversed Faults and Under, I think these are very, very electro. And they're electro, but you still feel this kind of, you know, 80s, you know, retro feel on it. I had said earlier, these tracks, while they are futuristic, still feel very retrospective. And I think it's an interesting blend. I think overall this album is magnificently unique. It doesn't sound anything like, you know, it has elements here and there, of course, in the sound from other artists, but it doesn't sound like anything any other artist is creating current, at least in the mainstream that I have been exposed to. So Reverse Faults is a very erratic track, very futuristic, and I think it's a very smooth and, you know, soothing track. The next track, Under, Sampha is talking about being under a spell, being mesmerized, and I have to say this track itself is very mesmerizing. And throughout this album, you're able to feel the emotion and get a sense of the mood of Sampha, of these songs, whether it's through the vivid imagery, of course in the lyrics, it's through the production. Everything just comes together very well on this project, and it's a solid project, especially if you like electro or R&B even. This is a solid project I'd recommend to anyone, and I'd give this an 8.5 over 10. Those are my thoughts on Sampha's Process. I really did enjoy this album. It's quite short at 10 tracks, but it's definitely a very good listen, and I do hope you give it a listen and let me know what you thought of this project down in the comments below. Be sure to check out some more videos. My name is Prime. I hope you have a blessed day and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.